Donald Trump, the greatest man to ever live, has won the 2024 US election. A lot of people will be thinking about the political benefits surrounding this. You know, fixing the US economy, ending war, that sort of thing. As far as I'm concerned, the question is, how does this affect the video games? For myself and many others, we can trace back everything we love being destroyed to Trump's victory in 2016. What with Hollywood and other California-based industries throwing a tantrum at the commie buster himself getting into office. They went scorched earth on everything good they had built over the years. In 2024, Western media is pretty much a wasteland. Nothing is left. Hollywood movies are flopping left and right, and pretty much every Western AAA game has bit the dust, all in the name of extreme left-wing ideology and the desire of the liberal elite to rob men who have very little to live for of all their favourite toys. Now Donald Trump has won his third US presidential election in a row. And this time, he actually gets to serve the term. So what do we think is going to happen in the gaming industry? Well, you don't need to be a psychic to predict this one. They're going to double down. Let's take a look at some quotes from this That Park Place article regarding former Sweet Baby Inc. employee Grant Roberts' response to the backlash SBI's practices have received. Grant says, "When it really reached its apex, when Elon Musk was tweeting about us, companies were reaching out to us privately and showing support. Nobody was pulling that support. I think the reason why we've had more support privately than publicly is because when people speak up publicly, we knew that they were opening themselves up to attacks." Of course, there is no way to verify Roberts' claims that companies have been supporting Sweet Baby and other consultancy firms in private, but I personally don't have a hard time believing it. Western studios have been hiring based on a DEI agenda for so long, it's likely that the majority of their staff are ideologically aligned with Sweet Baby and will push their companies to continue the agenda regardless of the financial damage they may take. And this sentiment is further backed up by this quote from Roberts. "The world is the way it is now. These games are more inclusive for people. Games are more authentic, and it doesn't matter whether you think that's true or not. It's happening. And so, no matter what these people do, they're not going to stop us. They're not going to stop the way that the world is now." Of course, inclusivity basically means the reduction of standards. By needing to include everyone, you can't be exclusive in the quality of your product and who's making it. As far as these people are concerned, there's just no backing down. And now that America has had its glorious revolution, they're backed into a corner, and that will make them more vicious than ever. Whilst it is good fun to laugh at the people online literally crying over Trump's third electoral victory, you have to remember that it's people like this that are running all the Western game studios. Unlike Hollywood, which is finally starting to realize that vilifying half your audience and hijacking beloved stories to push their left-wing ideologies isn't a good way to make money, gaming has a much longer way to go. Turning the movie industry around is a slow enough process, given how many things have already started production and are slowly making their way down the sludge pipeline. And gaming is 10 times worse. We all know making a AAA game takes an eternity, and too many projects that were born in the flames of DEI are too deep in development for them to be turned around. All they can do is double down until these projects come out, continue to villainize the audience, that's us, and hope they can still get away with calling us racist when their investors question them on their tanking stock prices. It's going to be a long, long road to fix Western gaming, but here's what makes this different from 2016. The money is drying up. They've been bleeding money for 8 years. Companies like Ubisoft may cease to exist thanks to Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws. And BioWare likely will never come back from Dragon Age The Veilguard. But hey, at least I can have top surgery scars on my character, right? At the end of the day, the audience decides. And we don't want this. We want to have fun. We don't want to have political messaging shoved down our throats at every hour of the day, because you know what? That's boring! Indeed, the Western devs will double down, but they don't have the money to do so this time, and sooner, rather than later, they'll have to realize that people are not procuring what they're peddling. People voted against their liberal movement in the US election, and gamers will certainly vote with their wallets in the gaming market. Just look at Spider-Man 2. That game failed to break even, and Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement could be felt all over it. And it looks like PlayStation plans to keep them around for Wolverine and Spider-Man 3, so they can certainly kiss making any profit in those games goodbye as well. We're more switched on than ever to this nonsense, and Trump's victory is a resounding message to all markets that everyone is fed up. As much as I hate to admit it, America will save us.
Well, America don't save us. God bless America.
Right, I do just want to balance out all of my grandstanding here by letting you know that I didn't know girls had a separate hole for peeing until I was 16. I wet the bed until I was 9, and I have no friends. Just to keep things balanced here, you know? The funny thing is, I don't really play Western games anyway. Never have. I mainly spectate the controversies and feel sorry for the fans who've had their favourite franchises sucked into the all-consuming left-wing void. But I play a lot of Japanese games. They're much better at making them than we are. Sometimes Thing Japan really is Thing Japan, but the island of Nippon is not safe. See my last video expressing concern over how Sega has been slowly slipping into left-wing pandering in order to pursue the international market. This trend has been happening a fair bit more in Japan. The abhorrent censorship of the late Akira Toriyama's artwork in the upcoming Dragon Quest III remake comes to mind. But this is happening mainly because some Japanese companies falsely believe this is what the coveted international consumer wants. Now let's face it, the international market basically means the United States. The rest of us are just side characters in the farcical TV show that is humanity. Don't worry, us Brits will make our big comeback once we drive out the communists running our country. But until then, just sit tight.
Your favorite president with the Queen. She was unbelievable. She was great. We had a very good relationship, really good.
So back to Trump's third election victory in America. It was a lot bigger than most of us expected, and was a massive punch in the gut to the woke globalist movement that has been bearing down on us all for the past few years. Surely the Japanese businessmen have to take notice. Yes, the consultants they hire can tell them that Americans want all the progressivism as much as they want, but not only did Trump win the Electoral College, he won the popular vote. And that fact cannot be ignored. The majority of the USA is now against this ideology. This has to give them pause. They're not ideologically infested like Western gaming companies are. These guys, for the most part, still run on common sense. Not to mention that Japan has also had an election recently with a big upset in their result. The LDP has been shifting away from Shinzo Abe's principles for a while now, leaning more into the globalist agenda and trying to introduce the same BS we've been putting up with for the past few years into Japan. Now, Shinzo Abe, notably, was rather fond of Donald Trump. They were good friends, with his spirit even going as far as to prevent the assassination of Donald Trump. Thank you for that one, Shinzo. Well, the Japanese people didn't like the LDP's shift towards globalism, not one bit, causing them to lose enough seats to struggle to form a coalition to create a government. And on top of that, the new Japanese Conservative Party won itself some seats and seems to be gaining popularity. Think of them as sort of like the Japanese Reform UK Party. Long story short, the American market has shown it doesn't want this nonsense, and they also have their own electoral results in Japan to look at. So no matter which audience they choose, American or Japanese, nobody wants this. To add to all this, it's looking likely that Sanae Takaichi will become the leader of the LDP, thus making her Prime Minister of Japan. And she is widely regarded as the female Shinzo Abe, who is widely regarded as the Japanese Donald Trump. Bottom line is, neither market wants the left-wing activism that the Japanese gaming companies have been dipping their toes in lately. The message is now homeless. All we need to do now is wait for it to die. Things will get worse. Trump derangement syndrome is going to hit hard, but if we sit tight, the money will dry up. They can get all the ESG loans they want, but they don't actually turn a profit. The investors will just walk away. Soon enough, they're going to have to listen to their voters. And that's us. We will remain vigilant, we will do our research, and we will certainly withhold our money from any project that preaches or panders. And together, we will make Rouge's Naturals big again. God bless America.